We are live.
Good evening and welcome to the November 18th Planning Commission meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Chair Gutierrez,
Here,
Vice Chair Hogan,
Here.
Secretary Cloud,
Present.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Here.
Commissioner Pava,
Here.
Commissioner Satenia.
Present.
Mr. Chair, a quorum is present.
thank you. Moving on, Pledge of Allegiance. If we can have Councilor-elect Garcia do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And before we move on to the approval of the agenda, unless there's any objections, I'd like to give Mr. Garcia just a few minutes if we could.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I first off wanted to come on the record here and give my thanks to everyone. I definitely have enjoyed being on this board. It's what I like most about this is that we have such great perspectives in many different facets. And I think that brings a really good, valuable tool to making good decisions in regards to projects, how they affect the communities, how they affect the overall city and quality of life. And so, you know, from everyone that I've served on previously that is no longer on the board to now currently, I want to give all you guys my heartfelt thanks. And, you know, going forward, we're here to all work together still. And with that, I want to say that effective immediately, you can count this as my resignation from the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Councilor-elect, congratulations. You're going to be missed by all of us. If there's anybody that'd like to say any words to Garcia, go ahead, Commissioner Faulkner.
Lee, I want to thank you so much. I know when we would commute back and forth to the meetings, we had a lot of awesome conversations. And I appreciated your thoughtfulness that you bring to you brought to the Planning Commission. You're a man of few words, but what you do say, unlike some of us on the commission, are usually poignant, and you don't waste your communications. And so that's one of the things I really appreciated is you were very thoughtful, and I look forward to working with you on the council.
Thank you, Commissioner Faulkner. Vice Chair Hogan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Garcia, I just want to say thank you for your time and effort and the energy you put into the many cases that you've reviewed and had input on. And I just personally hate to see you go from the Planning Commission, but I understand it's for a higher calling. So you'll still be doing good in the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll say something, Commissioner Garcia or Council-elect Garcia. It's been a pleasure serving with you. We've very much enjoyed our time together and what you've brought to this commission. And I think all of us as staff can collectively say that. I think we've really enjoyed working with you and we'll enjoy continuing working with you, just at a lot longer meetings probably, but hopefully they're not too bad. So I wish you the best of luck in your new role and look forward to working with you. So thank you.
Thanks. I'd like to second that as well. Commissioner Garcia, I know we haven't worked together a whole lot on the Planning Commission, just, you know, me being new to the, being interim to the land use director position. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to working with you on the council, and I second everything that Noah said. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you all. And I will miss you all, but I know we'll be reading those packets, and it's going to have those good recommendations from this body here. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll be in touch, everyone.
Thank you and best of luck.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your service.
You got it.
Okay, moving on will be approval of the agenda. Any changes from staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I would like to move that item F1 has been withdrawn by the sponsor. And that was a consideration of Bill 2021. And that was the ordinance relating to the Land Development Code, Chapter 14, establishing permitted uses, definitions, standards, and incentives for qualifying innovation projects and qualifying innovation village projects. So that item has been removed by the sponsor and will not be heard. And so that is all of the changes from staff. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the only thing on our agenda this evening. So if I can get a motion, please.
Motion to approve as amended.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion was by Commissioner Faulkner and a second by Commissioner Pava. If we can have a roll call, please.
Vice Chair Hogan,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Clow,
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Pava,
Yes.
Commissioner Satania.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you. So everybody in the attending room, this will not be heard in case you tuned in late or didn't hear it. We have no minutes, no findings. The old business has been pulled. There's no new business, so we're moving on to staff communications.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. There'll be the meeting on December 2nd, I believe, is our next meeting. There will be just the three, there'll be basically 2 cases, 6 captions. It's general plan amendments, rezoning, and development plans in a subdivision. So don't be overwhelmed with the 6 cases. It's actually just really 2. And so that should be a pretty quick night, hopefully. And then there will most likely not be a second meeting for the in December. It's looking at like, so maybe we'll get a good Christmas break.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Now, matters from the commission. Vice Chair Hogan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if it's appropriate, but is there any background on what happened with the presentation tonight?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioner or Hogan. So the sponsor just has decided to, just as of today, decided to withdraw, not postpone, but withdraw and actually remove it from any schedule going to any subcommittees of the governing body, and also to not be heard at all right now in its current form. So that's really the only direction we've been given, and that's the only reasoning behind it.
Yeah, it's a substantial effort to kind of abandon at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
But what are we going to do? Okay, and this just came to light this afternoon?
More this kind of mid-morning afternoon-ish into that.
Okay, well, and I know we have to notice the meeting and follow through, so not like there's a lot of alternative in terms of calling off the meeting in a more timely way, but anyway, it's kind of disappointing. I was hoping to hear about it.
Well, there is one bright note. We're on Zoom, so we can zoom out of here once we're done.
That's good.
Commissioner Pava. You're muted, Commissioner Pava.
Try it again. Thank you, Commissioner Gutierrez. I too am a little surprised about the late withdrawal, although having been in the position of being on staff, I know that that can happen. One quick question about the sponsor. Are we talking about Councilor Obeta as the sponsor, or are there other parties that we might be talking about.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners, and Commissioner Pava. So Councilor Beta is the sole sponsor of this, of what was proposed for that consideration of that bill. There are no other sponsors of it, or there were no other sponsors of it in its current form.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Burke. Because I was wondering if there had been previous conversations and further background, but since we're not having a hearing, that's not really relevant to ask. The only thing I would say is, as a new commissioner and a returning commissioner, and as a planner for over 40 years and a fellow of the American Institute of Certified Planning, I would not think that a text amendment was the appropriate way to approach this subject. I think that if we're talking about transparency and just doing the right things, and I'm not lecturing anybody here, it's just my opinions. Frankly, I was surprised how this would have been presented, and I was fully prepared to express my opinions as to why it should not move forward to council at this time. Nevertheless, there may be other appropriate venues with due process procedurally to allow this to have a full public airing and hearing. And as many of you have known, I have written in the New Mexican about the need for a new comprehensive plan. Ours is 22 years old. The surveys that comprise the plan about public attitudes go back to 1994. I did not have gray hair then, and my kids were real small. One of them wasn't even born yet. So I would suggest that what we do forward as a planning commission, and this is certainly in our purview, is recommend to governing body, council, and anybody else who wants to hear, is that we start to engage with a fresh start in the process of a new general plan and to reinvigorate long-range planning in this city, so that when we do come up with a situation like this, which has its cons, but also has its pros, that we are fully prepared to engage with an informed public who can understand the issues, participate in the issues, and we can move forward as a community, as a city.
Thank you, Commissioner Pava. Any other commissioners? Since you.
Yes, Chair Gutierrez.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead, Commissioner Satenia.
I didn't have it up. I'm sorry. For the community members that are here, I just want to ask publicly: is there any intention for these text amendments to be modified or be sent to any committee, or is there any intention from the applicant to continue to pursue this?
Chair, Commissioners, Commissioner Satenia, there is only a sponsor. It's a consideration of a bill as a text amendment, so there's not an applicant. And the sponsor has withdrawn it right now. And so that's just where it's at right now. It's withdrawn.
So for clarity, Mr. Burke, that means no subcommittees of the council, anything of that nature. It's completely dead as of this moment, correct?
As of this moment, I wouldn't say dead, I'd say withdrawn, and which means, and it was withdrawn also on July 15th. So it has been withdrawn, and this is withdrawn, and it could potentially it really depends on what the sponsor's direction is to
Mr.
staff.
Burke, if you'll hold on, I just want, the city attorney has her hand up and I want to make sure we're not crossing the line. Go ahead, city attorney.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. I was just going to agree with Mr. Burke. It's currently withdrawn. It currently does not have a sponsor to push it forward. It cannot go to governing body without a sponsor. And so at this point, it essentially is indefinitely postponed, or it is not going anywhere at the moment. It doesn't mean that there won't be another sponsor or the sponsor coming back. Doesn't mean it won't be amended. Doesn't mean you won't see it again. It just means for right now, it essentially doesn't exist on any agenda.
Thank you.
Question.
Commissioner Satania, any other questions? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, and I appreciate the city attorney. I know that there's interested parties with regards to this legislation, and I don't believe that this is the end of this, even though there is not a sponsor. And I think that the public should know that that this could resurface again in the future should they be looking to chime in on this topic.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? So I'm gonna real quick and before we adjourn, just expand on Commissioner Pava's thoughts. I found something interesting during the last couple of months on the general plan, and it's in 10-2-1. There should be a process for semi-annual amendments to the general plan. 10-2-1-2, prepare annual and 5-year reports on the general plan. In 10-2-1-3, maintain a general plan implementation program that reflects priorities for public action and is accessible to all residents. So it's there, and it's spelled out in the 10 section, whatever section that is. So I think there is room to start some sort of work on it. I know that there's other things going on as far as the summary or whatever it is. What's it called, Mr. Burke?
Chair, Commissioners, I also want to echo that is in the general plan, and also Commissioner Pavna's need for or wanting us to update the general plan. We fully intend to do that. We are working on growth management plan currently, which may guide what the general plan would look like as a rewrite. So it's kind of a bigger picture type of thing for our city, even bigger than just what the general plan describes. But yes, there is in some of the documents internally with staff, there is an implementation schedule. It just appears that it was maybe never done. But I did find it years ago, and it is a spreadsheet and tells you how to get it done and what to do and what resolution did what and what ordinance did what. And then there also was only one 5-year update. And I think it was 2004, 2005. There was one update from a previous director of the department. And then after that, it did not seem that there were more updates, but there were more efforts of studies and condensing the general plan from our former long range planners, looking at ways they could condense it and make it smaller, but never a full rewrite. And I fully intend to pursue rewriting this. Absolutely understand the need for it. And it should make the commission's job easier once it's updated, and the public needs to weigh in on it. I think a lot of the themes remain true in the general plan. So thank you.
Mr. Burke, the growth management study, is that underway, or what's the timelines on that?
So the growth management study has to have an RFP. So that's a request for proposals, and it has to have a scope in it, and it has to define what the vision is for this. And that has not been completed right now, because one of the steps is ensuring that every department is going to be participating in this, and we get the commitment before we create an RFP for something where we aren't getting commitments from everyone who's going to be involved. So we are working on that right now. I'm working with the departments to get their commitment before we compose the RFP. We see the RFP coming within the next couple months. We just finished the RFP for the Chapter 14 rewrite and got approval from procurement. So that will do a code hygiene update, which is long overdue. And then it's 3 phases, and then looking for condensing Chapter 14 and then making consistency with the growth management initiative, and then as well as consistency with the general plan where it lacks that, and then removing stuff that just shouldn't be there anymore. And so it will be a 3-phased approach, but we did finish the RFP. We got approved, and so that will be coming out. Growth management is next. It just is a bigger task because we have to create that.
So fair to say, look for it in the first quarter of 22-ish.
Yes, Chair. I think that's a very good, very fair statement.
Thank you. Commissioner Faulkner.
And I just wanted to kind of echo what staff is saying. Dan, one of the things that happened is we're trying to get the long range planning, to my knowledge, we're trying to get the long range planning committee up and going. But in the meantime, we put together a policy committee so that we could at least start working on some stuff until the long range planning committee gets up and going. So policy is a big, I think it's a priority to all the commissioners. And I just wanted to reiterate that by way of catching you up a little bit on what we're working on. Policy has become a big consideration because we run into things like the innovation triangle concepts and stuff that we don't necessarily have policy that can contend with those things. And so rather than be reactive, we're hoping that if we can get policy nailed down, we're going to be proactive in this decision making instead of reactive.
Thank you, Commissioner Faulkner. Commissioner Pava. Oh, you're muted.
I will learn. I'm on Zoom all day. It's just that this is a different venue for Zoom. Thank you, Commissioner Faulkner, for those observations. I would say from my perspective that before even policy, you need to have citywide visioning. You need to have surveys that are scientifically accurate by people like research and polling, not politicians. You need to have the entire public of this city weigh in ways that weren't even dreamed of in 1994. And we can do that. That will lead to the creation of the right policies that will guide things like an idea like innovation center and innovation villages or anything else the city wants to move forward in the future with.
Thank you, Commissioner Pava. Any other commissioners? Seeing none, we're adjourned. Everybody stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Good night. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.